Okay. Well, hello everyone. My name's John Brenneman. I'm the president here at MOAA Vacations, joined today by our good friend Angela Larson from Princess Cruises. We are recording this webinar, so later on this evening, you will receive an email which will include a link to this webinar so you can review it as you'd like. We did start right at the top of the hour, so if myself or more likely Angela says anything that you want to revisit, just make a note of what the time is. And then when you get the webinar, let's say it's 35 minutes in and Angela says something, rather than trying to find it or watch the first 35 minutes of the webinar again, you can know right where to go. Everything we do here at MOA Vacations is for MOA members and all of their guests. So if you have any friends or family that you would like to invite to join you on your Princess Cruise vacation, feel free to share this webinar with them. Before we get started, I always like to talk about some of the things that make MOA Vacations unique. So we got this kind of slide put together. Angela, if you don't mind clicking forward just one for me of the four things that make us unique. Just before I get into that, though, the kind of agenda for today is I'm going to just talk real briefly. We have just a few people on today who have not been on a webinar before. I've now done like over 130 of them in the last few years. Uh, so a lot of you have probably heard this before. I'll go over that briefly. I'm going to turn it over to Angela. Angela is going to talk first about Princess Cruises. She's going to talk about their military benefit, which in my opinion is the best in the industry. She's going to talk about their program for solo travelers and just general information on Princess. And then she's going to go into kind of a lot more detail about an Alaska cruise, a group departure for MOA members we've got put together. And then at the conclusion, Angela and I are going to do a Q&A, your chance to ask any questions you'd like, and we're here to answer them. As soon as I get done, when I turn over to Angela, feel free to go ahead and type your questions in during her presentation. I will be answering questions during the presentation, and then we'll revisit everything again at the end during the Q&A, particularly if it's something that we think everybody would be interested in. To ask a question, if you take your cursor or your finger, if you're on your phone or a laptop or whatever, there should be a little menu that pops up at the bottom. There is like a conversation box with a question mark in it. Below that, it says Q&A. If for some reason or other you don't see that icon, there's also a circle with three dots in it that says more. If you click on that more, it'll show all of the icons and you'll see that Q&A icon. So as I said, at any time you have a question, feel free to just go ahead and drop it in that Q&A and we'll make sure that we get it taken care of. So real quick, MOA Vacations, we are a full service travel agency. We specialize in vacation travel, as our name would imply. And we are here and would like to be your travel agency of choice for all your vacation travel. Part of the things that kind of set us apart from other travel agencies, the first is we do provide what we call a concierge level of service. So we're here to do basically everything we can to make sure your vacation is enjoyable as possible. There's a lot of examples for that. One of the things one of the things we have that's probably one of the most used things is, for example, if you get trip insurance and you have a trip insurance claim, we actually fill out the claim forms for you, and then we actually are your go-between between you and the insurance company. So you contact us either by phone or email, and then we reach out to the insurance company and get that information for you. Kind of the thing we kind of hang our hat on, however, would be the fact that we provide travel on a satisfaction guaranteed basis. So by that we mean if you have any problem, issue, concern, either before or during your trip, you reach out to us. 90% of the cases you'll talk to me directly. If I am unavailable, which is rare, but that would be I do take a vacation every year. So for that week, 10 days when I'm on vacation and I'm trying to kind of stay out of the big day to day, you'll actually talk to our vice president here, Mike Tyrell. So Mike and I use our relationships with cruise lines, for example, with Princess, that would be Angela, to make sure the matter gets resolved to your satisfaction in a very timely manner. We do guarantee the lowest price. In fact, a lot of times we have prices lower than the lowest price. We do have a free amenity program. We're going to talk about some of those amenities that we have today. But we have, in addition to the one group we're going to talk about today, we actually are holding space on a couple of hundred different princess groups. And the reason we do that is we actually grab that group space the day that they are released to the public, to actually start reserving that space. So what we do is we'll go in a sailing, we'll hold like 8, 10 staterooms. And then as the price goes up and the ship fills up, we have locked in lower prices. So we have, well over 100 sailings on Princess that if you contact us, that we can save you hundreds of dollars below what you'd get if you contacted Princess even directly. And then finally, group opportunities. And I mentioned we are going to talk about one of those, an Alaska cruise we have departing from Seattle, actually. Not sorry, San Francisco. So it's a round trip, San Francisco, Alaska. I think it's a fantastic itinerary. I know we've had a lot of interest in already. And the one thing I was going to kind of say when Angela's going through this, I just want to reiterate that we're here to help you on any Princess cruise you want to go on this year, next year, the year beyond that, to any destination you want to go to. So as Angela's talking, think about where you want to go. If you want to go with your fellow group members, we have that Alaska cruise round trip San Francisco. But if that date isn't the ideal date for you, that same cruise, same itinerary is available not only, next year, the year after that, it's available on other dates. So you don't have to go, on that MOAA group date if that timing doesn't work best for you. But I will say for the people that go on these group itineraries or the group departures, and about half the people who call us actually ask about the possibility for them joining a MOAA group departure. The added camaraderie that you have sailing with people with similar backgrounds, I think really adds a lot to your vacation experience. So if you're flexible in your date and you're looking to go Alaska, I think that's going to be a great opportunity for you. But regardless of where or when you want to go with Princess, we are here to help you every step of the way. So Angela, tell us more
Yes.
about Princess.
Oh, thanks, John. You did such a great job of teeing me up. Um,
That's my job. I'm the hype
right?
man.
That's why I love this relationship.
There you go.
Um, so I thought I'd go over just exactly what today's Princess is, because Princess has been around for 60 years. Like, oh my gosh, that's a long time in cruising. This is just a couple pictures of me, who I am. I'm a business development manager. What I love is that I get to work with John and great people with MOAA Vacations and just really showing everybody and showing the love that I have for Princess, i.e. the Love Boat, but also just my Alaska knowledge because I love Alaska. I am from Minneapolis. I say Minneapolis because if I say Minnesota, everybody's like, "Oh, we hear it." Um, but enough about me. Princess, the thing that I like to say about Princess is we are not just a taxi service to a destination. So we really try to embrace where we're going and bring that on board. So when you get to your destination, you're ready to step off and explore. And we do that by great onboard entertainment. And I'm going to say live entertainment and multiple live entertainments. I just got off of the Enchanted Princess in Canada and New England. And at one point, I think I counted 6 venues in the evening that all had live music. So I love that on a ship because I don't have a piano bar, every room I walk in. So that's always fun for me. But we also have Broadway style production shows. What we do in our on our theater, and it's just amazing to me that they're able to pull all this together with the limited space that they have and on a moving vessel. So when you see any production show on any cruise line, just remember it's a theater and they're moving while they're performing. So I always think that that's a really fun nod to that. Let's talk about some of the other entertainment offers. Okay, so we have live music in the Piazza. And our Piazza, just to kind of give you an idea, if you've never sailed Princess before, our Piazza is in the middle of the ship, kind of like an atrium, but it's 3 stories tall, so you can see that in the picture. And just like the Piazzas over in Europe, it's one of those things that's to draw you in, and no matter what's going on there, if you're passing by, you're going to peek your head over to see what's happening and be a part of it. Then, of course, we have karaoke. I mean, who doesn't love getting up and singing after a couple of, alcoholic beverages in front of 100 of your newest, greatest, latest friends? And then movies under the stars. Now, yes, we call it movies under the stars. However, imagine being on any of our cruises and say your favorite football game is on, or the Super Bowl, or baseball game. That's what's going on during the day. And then in the evening, we'll have, it might be 80s theme night and we might have an 80s movies showing, or maybe it's a concert that was live streamed from, over in England. I mean, there's just so many things and so many venues. But when you cruise Alaska, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it may be chilly as you're cruising through the different glaciers. No worries, we have blankets and popcorn, okay? We're gonna make you comfortable while you do this. We also, of course, have a casino. We have game shows and trivia, which is one of my favorite. My family this last week, we all sat in Princess Live and watched all the game shows and trivia one night. And then we have our port talks. Remember when I said it's not just a taxi service? We want to have you get ready to explore. We bring in experts, okay? When my mother-in-law cruised Alaska several years ago, Libby Riddles from the Iditarod, she was in there giving port talks and lectures, and my mother-in-law just sat up camp right there and listened all day long to her. Some of the other activities we have in entertainment, of course, we have bingo, demonstrations, shuffleboard, pickleball, all of that stuff we have. But one thing that I think really makes Princess stands apart is our destination themed activities. So, we'll meet an Alaskan lumberjack, or maybe hula dancing and ukulele lessons when we're going to Hawaii, or Brazilian samba dancers when we're in South America. All of these things we do to bring that culture to you on board. So when you arrive someplace, you want to, explore more and go deeper. But let's talk about Alaska for a moment, okay? Because Alaska, we've been sailing for as a company for 60 years, but we've been doing Alaska for 55 years. So we know Alaska pretty well. John mentioned this group that MOAA has, which is on a 10-day inside passage. So it's round trip from San Francisco. And I'm just going to take a moment and kind of go day by day on what that looks like for you. So on August 1st, 2026, that's when we start the voyage. We're going to welcome you aboard, okay? Maybe you've seen the show Welcome Aboard. We've been expecting you, and now that's going to be stuck in your head all day. You can thank me later for that. But on August 2nd, you have a day at sea. So you can relax, maybe do some sports, maybe hit up the casino, maybe catch your favorite movie under the stars. And then on August 3rd, it is also another day at sea. And when we're at sea, we always have afternoon tea, which is complimentary. You can go have a scone and a glass of tea and just relax. Maybe your form of relaxation is a spa, or maybe it's a dance lesson. But on August 4th, we are in Ketchikan. One of the things that's unique about Ketchikan, when we're in Ketchikan, we also have this North to Alaska program on board. So we will bring puppies into the piazza so you can see the sled dog puppies. And who doesn't love that? Like, I'm a sucker for puppies. But I highlighted just a couple of shore excursions that you can do there. Okay, so we have a Deadliest Catch Crab Fisherman's Tour, where you can go on board one of the Deadliest Catch ships and see all about the crab industry. In Ketchikan, really, it is going to be your totem poles, it's your eagles, it's your, fishing, all of that for a port of call. Fun fact about Ketchikan, you may know this, you may not. In Ketchikan, they get an average of 160 inches of rain a year. So it is truly a rainforest. Now, keep in mind, I'm from Minneapolis. So what do I do when you tell me 160 inches? I'm immediately converting it into inches of snow. So as my husband says, I don't think we could live there because we don't have a snow blower that is big enough to, handle that. But then on August 5th, you're going to be in Juneau, Alaska. Now, Juneau's going to be your whale watching expedition. This is your whale watching port. You can also uh, go by helicopter and go up on Mendenhall Glacier and go dog sledding. I mean, that great pictures from that. Salmon fishing, one of the things, on the salmon's fishing expeditions that you can always have them shipped back to your house. So when you arrive back home, you'll have this fresh salmon as a memory from your vacation, and not to mention really good eating for the next several days. On August 6th, we are in Haines, Alaska. Now, Haines is Eagle, Eagle, Eagles. They have an eagle preserve. They have nat one of the excursions can be a nature and wildlife expedition, but maybe you like your distilleries and you love, alcohol tastings and things like that. We got you covered here too. But it is just breathtaking to be in that wide open area of Alaska. Now, August 7th, it's Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier. So this is what we call scenic cruising. So it's not necessarily a port where you get off and do shore excursions, but you get to relax up on your balcony or mini suite veranda, or maybe you just want to go up to the very top deck on the aft of the ship. That's one of my favorite places, and they have a pool and you can just watch the scenery unfold all around you. I feel like with Alaska, that is so much of what is so popular up there. It's just having the nature and mountains and glaciers just unfold every moment or every hour. It's a new experience. Then on August 8th, we go to Prince Rupert, British Columbia, up in Canada. So here you can go golfing. They have a lot of like highlights in Native American art, very similar to Ketchikan in that respect. But you can also do a Great Bear rainforest exploration by rail and road. I'm a huge fan of railroad. I didn't think I was, but once I went into the interior of Alaska, took that Alaska train, it had me hooked. Now, on August 9th, you have another day at sea. So you might decide to do all the food. We have cooking demonstrations. We have lots of demonstrations. And again, maybe you relax in the evening with movies under the stars. And then now, okay, let's end your vacation with a nice trip to the spa, maybe some casino, maybe win back some of what you spent, and then obviously the dancing as well. And on August 11th, you're back. You're back in San Francisco. You have all the memories. It's time to download all the photos, post all to social media just to make all your friends jealous. But so that's the MOAA Alaska group. Okay. We do Alaska very well. This is a 10-day round trip San Francisco, so it's really easy to get to, especially if you're already in Northern California. But we also do 7-day round trip Seattle's, and maybe you want to do a land and sea, one of our very popular Alaska cruise tours. So you just contact MOAA for any details on anything you want to do Alaska. But think of Princess when you think of Alaska. Oh, John, I'm so excited to talk about this. You and I have talked about this, and this is one of our favorite itineraries of all time. So as Princess, we go to 330 destinations. But in 2027, we have the Circle Pacific World Cruise. So it's a round trip out of Los Angeles. So let's just take it for a moment and go LA over to Hawaii, down, into the South Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, up the coast into, Thailand and Asia, Japan, over, and let's do Alaska starting at Anchorage all the way down back to Los Angeles. This is 114 days round trip, and it starts January 21st of 2027. Now, picture this. You just got done through the holidays with your family, and you've packed things up, and maybe you go south. Maybe you're looking for that longer vacation. This is like a dream vacation on so many levels. But why I'm telling you about this now and not next year is because we have some early booking savings, okay? And so if you book between now and Halloween, so October 31st, this is what you get. You get your Princess Premier package included. So for a minute, let's look at what that Princess Premier is. And it's that first column of things. That's your beverage package, your bottles of water, Your casual dining meals. It includes all your specialty dining meals. So you could eat specialty dining every night if you wanted. It includes your room service delivery and Ocean Now delivery. It includes 4 devices per guest for your Wi-Fi. So if you travel with your iPad and telephone, like my husband does, you don't need to toggle it between. It is just, you can have them all up at the same time, and that's per guest. Plus, you get a $300 per guest shore excursion credit. Your gratuities are included, your photos are included, your reserved seating for the your production shows. That's all included if you book before Halloween, which is October 31st. And if you want to do the math, okay, that's $100 per day per guest value. And you know what? That again, 114 days. So the math is real. You also can get round trip free airfare to Los Angeles. So maybe you don't live in the California area, maybe you live in Kansas City. So it would include free airfare to and from LA with the transfers included. Now you get an automatic up to, let's say you're in a balcony, because for that long, of course we want a balcony. That's a $1,500 onboard credit per guest, in addition to that $300 Princess Premier credit. And if you happen to have cruised before then, okay, so say you've already loved Princess and you've already cruised with them, you can double that onboard credit. So, like, the value is there. So I'm not just showing you this saying, oh my gosh, it's a long cruise, it's expensive. No, no, no. What you get for the value is real and tangible, and you will use. And I think, every time John and I talk about this, we get excited, like, oh, wouldn't it be great to just to go and cruise the South Pacific and not have to worry about cooking and cleaning. I myself, I don't know how John feels about this, but I myself, after being at sea for 114 days, not having to cook for myself, not having to clean for myself. I mean, every day my bed is already made by someone else. I feel I'm going to need a little bit of acquisition to get used to like normal life after something like this. So this is the Grand Circle Pacific. And again, reach out to your MOAA travel advisors and they can certainly help get you some quotes and tell you all that's included with this. So that I get really excited about that. But then let's talk about what Princess does for our military benefit, okay? Because I feel John mentioned that we're in the best in the industry, and that warms my heart because I do feel like we truly are the best in the industry. So all of you guys would qualify for this, and we have an easy form for you guys to fill out that your advisor can send you links to, but you can see what the onboard credit is per passenger. So let's say on a 7-day night cruise, you would get $100 per per person military benefit for those that qualify. Now, the other couple things I want to mention on this is once you fill out and send in all of your qualification paperwork, it is tied to your captain's circle number or frequent cruiser number. And so each time you cruise, it is automatically attached for you. So you don't need to refill it out on each and every time. So that is one thing that I love about us. And then the other thing is that this benefit is stackable. So like I mentioned, the early booking on the Circle Pacific cruise, this is in addition to any of the other onboard credit that is offered with that. So just remember that we are one of these companies that we are an and, okay, not in place of or an or. So we want this for you and on top of whatever great rate you get. Let's talk for a minute about solo travelers. Okay, solo travelers, this is one where, sometimes you cruise alone. It is our regular size staterooms. Okay, so we don't have a solo traveler cabin category. So when we price out our solo traveler rates, it is, how can I put this? It is not double the price, but it is close to just because of how cruising rates are. However, we have a lot of select sailings that is very advantageous for you as a solo traveler, and you can talk to your MOAA advisor, and they have access to a complete listing of all of the sailings that we offer on that. Sometimes they're far out, sometimes they're closer to. But then the other thing we offer on board for the solo traveler is we have a lot of solo traveler meet and greets, usually one or two a day. So that way you can, if you're traveling alone and you kind of want to meet someone else just to hang out with by the pool and maybe play a game of cards with, that would be a great thing for you to do. So we really encourage people to travel, whether it's, as two people or as solo. We have you covered no matter what. And then John, I think we are at the Q&A part.
We are at the Q&A port. A couple
Mhm.
of things I'd just like to add, kind of we get to the end of it. And,
Yeah.
I think Angela and I are both really excited about that Circle Pacific. When I send the email out tonight, that includes a link to watch this video once it's uploaded to YouTube, I'm going to include that map, the where you can see the itinerary again.
Mhm.
I do know we had it in the newsletter earlier this year of those of you receive it and read that. But to me, it's such a unique thing because there's so much to see in the Pacific Theater and even on world cruises. Oftentimes, because they're trying to go all the way around the globe in 100 days, they'll stop at the big ports, the
Mhm.
name things. Yeah, you're going to stop in Tokyo, and yeah, you're going to stop, in Hong Kong, and yeah, you're going to stop in Singapore. But there's so much more to see there that I think it's just fantastic that they have. It's the length of a world cruise. It's that kind of same kind of length, but it's just so in depth of all the places that typically cruise ships don't go. Even when they do world cruises, or you do, it's obviously the somewhat shorter Pacific. Cruises. They'll have like a Grand Pacific cruise. It's like 24 days. So, if that kind of is on your bucket list, it's certainly something you should look at. It's something that's unique to Princess. And so it's a rare opportunity that, who knows if they're going to continue off that year after year. But just to go back a little bit, also as well in the military rate program, just to echo what Angela was talking about, that to me, the fact that it's on every sailing, and it's a set thing, and by the length of time you're going, how much that's going to be. It covers, active, retired, dependent, former, all of that. So it's a very all-encompassing kind of program. And what's interesting to me is the number of times that people will contact us to book a Princess cruise, and they've sailed on Princess in the past, and they're not registered in the program. And as Angela said, it's very simple to do. And once you're registered once, it is on your past passenger, your captain's club number forever. So you never have to register again. But we've literally have agents who've talked to people who's like, these people have already been on 12 Princess cruises and they've never got this military benefit before, which, maybe they booked direct with Princess and they didn't know to ask, or they booked through another travel agency that's not focused on the military community like we are. But to me, it's just such an easy to understand program, easy to explain, and easy to use. And then the solo travelers. I mean, we have a lot, 60,000, I think, solo travelers or single members of MOAA. So absolutely, when Angela and I were putting this together, I said, you got to talk about solo travel. If not, it's often the very first question we've got. So as a reminder, you can invite friends and family to go with you on any Princess cruise, be it a BOA group or just a sailing that you want to do. They'll receive all the amenities, all of the savings and everything else. I think one thing we didn't get to, that I wanted to make sure we talked about, is the cruise sale. And just want to let everybody know we have a cruise sale with Princess that starts today. It runs for 1 week. We'll include information on that in the email as well, but it is a 50% off deposit. So it's not as much money now to reserve your space. So you save 50% off the deposit. And then it has an onboard coupon book. And the onboard coupon book, Angela, isn't the value on that $900?
It is. It
Yeah.
is. And the nice thing, I mean, there's some exceptions to this, okay? But once you pay your deposit, you get to pick your stateroom. Most of our deposits, unless it's some quirky thing, is a refundable deposit. So it really behooves everybody to like, let's get the deposit down, let's get the vacation countdown started, lock in our rate, and get to the fun start part about the planning, right? Let's start, looking at where we're going in our shore excursions. So really, when we say, oh, deposit now, it's not for us to say, hey, let's, get your money now. No, no, no. It's really, let's start your vacation planning now versus waiting. And then maybe your preferred stateroom type isn't available.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing, just to add on that is it does not affect the final payment date.
Mm,
We've had other vendors where they have reduced deposit and they talk about it, but it's like, oh yeah, your deposit's only, $50 for your stateroom, but your final payment is due 18 months before you sail or something like that. So it's nothing like that. It is the same, deposit kind of thing within, how many days you if you call or you email, you talk to an agent, a travel cruise consultant here. They go back and forth with you. They send you the stuff. Typically, we hold a cabin while we're talking to you, and there's a few days we can hold a cabin, and then you pay your deposit. Deposit's refundable, and then the final payment date is the same final payment date. That if you would have booked last week without the reduced deposit. As more and more people kind of start offering these offers, there's a lot of times where we just need to be upfront with people. It's like, yeah, it's a reduced deposit, but now you got to make final payment a year out instead of like 90 days out, wherever it is. Anyway, okay, so if you have any questions, drop them in that Q&A. We can take as much time as you have as possible. Feel free to ask about anything, any destination they go to, anywhere they go. And then we had two questions that I was hoping we could kind of review. I'm going to ask the one that I basically replied to. I don't know. Angela, do you know where the ship docks in San Francisco?
yes, yes. I know that, and I'm going to make small talk while I look that up.
Or let's go
Um,
to another one while you look that up.
okay,
The other question is how much do excursions cost? And if you hadn't read my answer I put in there, this actually came up in the last webinar we did as well, as somebody said kind of what is the average excursion price, and I'll follow up with Angela on this in just a second. But it was funny in the last webinar we did, I used Alaska as example by saying, you could do a walking tour in Ketchikan and that may be $60. Or
right,
you can take a helicopter that lands on a glacier, and that could be $500. So it's kind of difficult
right,
to say what the excursions cost. It is sort of like the more that you have, the more that it's going to cost. I've been to Alaska a couple of times. I went on Princess, I did Princess Land as well, which was amazing. But I mean, one of the excursions I did is we went river rafting on a glacier runoff. It was stunningly beautiful and icy cold water splashing in your face. I've gone horseback riding, and obviously, river rafting and horseback riding, helicopter tours are going to be considerably more expensive than walking tours or sightseeing tours. I know a lot of
right.
people pan for gold there. So really the cost kind of varies depending on what it is you're doing. Angela, do you have something that shows example excursions and pricing that we might be able to include when we send out the email this evening, just so people can get kind of an idea?
There's links on our princess.com website. You can look up excursions.
If you can send me those links, I'll
Sure.
include them in the email.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
And
So
you could sort by, even if you're looking at like a Canada, New England one, you can sort by, say, Portland, Maine, and it will show you all the available excursions. Now, a couple things to keep in mind about that is that like excursions for 2026 are not available yet because we haven't closed out the 2025 year and our contracts with the vendors have not, kind of came back in. So if use it as a guideline, not like necessarily like, oh, this will be the one I want. Most of the time it is, but as soon as I say, oh yeah, you can count on it, there'll be somebody that this will be the one excursion that didn't
yeah,
go through, right? Um, but
I think they're just looking for kind of to get an idea of your budgeting, how much we're going to do. So yeah, I
yep.
think that would be great. So Angela's going to send me that link. I will include it in the email. So if you want to go kind of through, and plus I think it's also great to one of the things I just booked my vacation. So I'm doing a vacation this year, and one of the first things I do after I decide on what I'm going to do is I start looking at the excursions because that's the fun stuff, right? I mean,
Oh,
yeah, it's
right.
great to be on the
Yep.
ship and the meals and not work and all that other stuff, but to me the excursions are what really get me excited. It's like, oh, we're going to go kayaking, which is one of the things I did last time I went to Alaska. So we went kayaking across the lake. We did, whale watching. You're gonna, you can't do Alaska without doing a whale watching tour kind of thing. So did the whale
Oh, yeah.
watching and that kind of stuff. And to me, that's the thing that gets me really excited is thinking of all these great adventures I'm going to have in addition to all the relaxation of not working. So we will
Yeah.
include that as well. Did you anything else on that, or should we go to the next question?
Well, just on that, I will let everyone know. I've done Alaska, the cruise twice on Princess. I have done the northbound cruise and I've done a round trip cruise from Seattle. And I
Hmm.
can tell you the one I did was really young, didn't have money, so I didn't book any excursions. The second time I booked the excursions, I can tell you I still talk in depth about those excursions I took. So always remember when you look at excursions, it's your opportunity to maybe try something new, or this is going to be what your story of the trip will be like. Okay, so just put that in mind. Um, Now, John, you going back, you asked about the port in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Okay, so there's two different ones that we may go out of. It is going to be either Pier 27 or Pier 80.
Okay.
So that is and depending on the ship and the time of year and things like that, but that would be on any of the pre-cruise documents that your clients would have.
Okay. I think that asks that. We had another question
Oh, good.
on shore excursions, and I think we kind of answered that because they asked if there was going to be a brochure or something like that. So we mentioned in the email we're going to send out, it's going to include a link where you can kind of see them, kind of see what the pricing for it is this year, and kind of know that might go up 5, 10%, something like that going forward. Um, but once you're booked, are there brochures that they can have, or are you guys just basically gone all online going forward?
It is it is all online because it varies. So let's walk through it. This is a really good topic. So once you book with Princess, you will get a booking number, and then you can go online and create your Princess account. And on there, it will show your itinerary of your sailing. So in this one that we talked about, 2 days at sea, and then talked about Ketchikan and so when you go into that Ketchikan day, it will say view available shore excursions. So you would be able to view it straight from your account and book shore excursions from that. I will tell you this, once you book your trip and you see these shore excursions and you have one that you really want, you will want to secure that. And I do know that you do have to pay for it at the time you secure it. But they do sell out. Up in not that we talked about this one, but in Skagway, there's a way past railway that goes into the Yukon. That particular shore excursion sells out very quickly, so you want to make sure, and we can't get more space because the train only holds so many people. So just make sure when you see shore excursions that you like for whatever destination you're going to, go ahead and secure those. I mean, you can change it and stuff like that, but you do want to secure your optimal ones as soon as you know.
Okay. John asked about the cost for a mini suite. John, if you'd be kind enough to just give us a call or drop us an email, or I can have somebody here reach out to you, which I'll probably go ahead and do, and they can get you that information. I know if you kind of look at the invitation, or I know that the ad was in a military officer magazine or whatever, it only lists the lead-in pricing for inside ocean view and balcony. I think the ship has 23, 26 different cabin categories, so there are more than one mini suite category. So in that kind of question, you're always best to speak to a professional who can kind of go through with you kind of the difference between the mini suites and what's available and those types of things and locations. So glad to hear that you're considering going on the Alaska cruise. But as I said, kind of a specific question like that where there's a couple of different variables. And I do not have the lead-in pricing for mini suites or suites. So we will have somebody get in contact with you, or feel free, of course, to contact us. Raymond asked about appropriate clothing. The thing about Alaska is it's a little different. The season typically is May to September. It is going to be cooler in May and September than it is going to be in July. I do know that I went the last time I went to Alaska was in July. Everybody said it was unseasonably warm. In July in Alaska, depending on how far north you've gone, you will have sunlight for 14, 16. I mean, if you go far enough north, it's the, what does they call it? The land where the sun never sets, or no, land of the midnight sun, I guess, where, it's midnight and it's still sunny out. When you have the sun out 20 plus hours a day, it gets warm. We all know how
Mhm,
much the,
mhm,
the, the sun warms it. And I'm gonna let Angela answer this as well. But one of the things, we always kind of tell people for Alaska in particular is layers. Make sure you bring, good walking shoes, but layers, something rainproof, those types of things. But yeah, it depends on when you go. The earlier or the later in the season you get, it's going to be cooler. But even if you're going, in the warmer months, July, August, something like that,
mhm.
it can get cool. They can have cool spells. Also, some of the excursions you go on, for example, I'm just going to go back to what I said. I mean, it can be, 80 degrees in Ketchikan and you take a helicopter and you land on a glacier. It's going to be cold standing on a huge, you know,
Ice cube.
block of
Yeah.
ice. So it kind of varies, but there is information on the Princess website. But, you know, as I said, we kind of do a concierge level of service. So you call in or you email in, you get an agent. Feel free to talk to the consultant you're talking about and say, hey, can you send me information on what the clothing should be? And they're more than happy to send you an email with all that information, do that kind of, legwork for you, I guess. Anything you'd like to add about attire, Angela?
Well, I will add that you definitely want to dress in layers, like John said. Waterproof is key. Like, I look at it again from Minneapolis. I think of fall when the sun is out and when I'm not moving, it's nice and warm. However, when you happen to be, on a ship that's moving through glaciers, okay, you're surrounded by ice. It
Yeah.
can get cool. So, I err on the side of overpacking and packing, a couple pair of shorts, couple sweaters, windproof jacket. I mean, keep in mind, we are a cruise company and we will sell you whatever you may have forgotten. But you're all, and the stretchy dollar store gloves that you have, pack those, pack a little knit beanie hat, because things that pack small, if you have it, you're gonna be really more comfortable, and like John said, when I was there on the land portion in August, it happened to be unseasonably cold. It was like 50 degrees out. And everybody laughed at me because in all my pictures, I'm just wearing a pair of jeans and a sweater. And they're like, weren't you cold? I said, aha, I'm from Minnesota, so I actually had long underwear on. Um, and so like that's just how it is, right? Like we know how to pack.
There you go.
Um, yeah, and we have FAQs that help you through that. And when you
Yeah.
do plan a trip, and this would be for any princess destination, what I would do is on your smartphone, put in the cities where you're traveling to and just watch the weather. It's my husband's favorite activity. But he will go on and he'll be like, "Hey, did you know in Japan it's this temperature right now?" And so he likes to get a gauge of that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and
I
I thought you were going to go a different way. Before you brought up the long underwear, I was going to say, it is cool when you're sailing, but it's one of those things. If the sun is out and it's not a cloudy day, even if the temperature is cooler, we all know this. You know, uh, 65 degrees on a bright sunny day is warmer than 65 degrees on a cool cloudy, or excuse me,
Oh,
on a cloudy day,
absolutely.
even though the temperature's the same, that sun on your skin kind of makes a huge difference. We always talk about just bringing a little bag, kind of one of those little knapsacky things. And,
Hmm.
if you're off the ship, it's easy to throw some gloves in there, a beanie cap, maybe a waterproof jacket or something like that. And if you don't need them, you don't need them. They work great when you're getting souvenirs to throw those in there as well. But just kind of have that with you. But
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Um, no, no, I was gonna say, so when I was up in Alaska last year, up in Denali, at our Princess Wilderness Lodge, we have excursions you can do on land as well. And it was cold. It was like 65 degrees out. And all my friends, they wanted to go go on a whitewater rafting shore excursion. And I said, "No, thanks. I'm from Minnesota. I know what that water temperature is like." And they're all like, "Nope, let's go." And I'm like, "Okay, there's not a dry suit dry enough for me to, get warm after I've been in the water." Um,
It was one of my favorite excursions. One other thing, and I'm just going to throw this in there before we go to
yeah,
our final question, unless somebody else has a question they'd like to answer. Just talking about the glacier sailing.
yeah.
When we are training new people, or when I used to do live presentations, I'd always talk about the two destinations where I recommend that people consider upgrading to balconies and above, and a lot of people say I'm not going to spend that much time in my cabin, or some people have that mindset, when they're going for an ocean view or an inside like that. And those are Panama Canal and Alaska. And the reason for that is the sightseeing that you don't have in some destinations. And not to pick on Caribbean, but basically you do a Caribbean cruise, and they're docking at 6 in the morning, and you get off, you're there all day long. You get back on the ship, sun goes down, and there's really not a lot of sightseeing. That day in Glacier Bay or Dawson Glacier or wherever you may be going to do the glacier viewing, just to sit out on your own private balcony. They got room service, have them deliver coffee. You can even get breakfast delivered there. But Panama Canal the same way. Everyone's going to be up on the deck and on the railings, when you're sailing around, looking at the glaciers or whatever it is. It's something to consider. I mean, there's so much sightseeing while you're sailing on Alaska. It just kind of, begs for you to have your own private balcony where you don't have to fight the crowds. And I'm from Kansas, and I'm going to tell you that I take advantage of that balcony all the time, because the view in Kansas is never the view that you're going to get on an Alaska cruise, sitting out there having like a hot chocolate, and cookies or whatever it is, and just the amazing scenery that you're going to see on those days sailing. And you have several days at sea on this sailing, starting in San Francisco, just going up the California coast is
Oh my
also just
gosh.
amazing scenery to see.
Yeah.
So something absolutely to consider. And one of the great things about it being round trip is a lot of times people ask the question, which side, should I be starboard or should I be port? Which has the better scenery? On these round trips, it's like, on the way north, it's like, well, you want to be, on the port side, and on the way south, you want to be on the starboard side. Well, you'll see the coastline of California, whichever side of the ship you're on. So.
Right. Well, and John, let me expand on that just for a quick minute.
Mhm.
When you mentioned balconies and mini suites, so just so everybody who's listening kind of understands the differences. So a mini suite has some upgraded amenities. It's obviously larger, but think of it this way. When you walk into the room, you have the bathroom area, our huge walk-in closet, the bed, vanity area, and then on a mini suite, you have a sofa, and then you have the balcony. On just a regular balcony room, you don't have that sofa. So just, why would one versus the other? Well, again, my husband loves to sit and watch his little iPad when we're on vacation, and he does not like to sit in the bed. He
Yep.
prefers the sofa. So he prefers the mini suite over our regular balcony. So just, so people
It
get
has
an
a
idea
sitting
as
area.
what is the main differences.
It has a sitting area, and if you want a grand piano in your room, you're going to have to go up to a grand or owner's suite. So there you go.
Yeah. And we're
Okay.
happy to accommodate that, right,
Yep.
John?
Absolutely. So, and then the
Okay.
final question we have, it
Yep.
appears, is somebody asked about our onboard credits automatically applied to excursions when we book prior to the sailing. And
So
my
this is a
understanding, go ahead.
well, this is kind of a twofold question, because of our new Princess Premier that includes a shore excursion credit. So onboard credits, as like for your the military benefit, onboard credits, those are truly onboard credits you get once you step foot on board the ship. And most of the people will have already bought in their shore excursions. Now, if say you're going on this, okay, let's use this scenario.
Yeah.
You're going on this August 1st, 2026 sailing round trip out of San Francisco up to Alaska, and you've booked a couple excursions, and then you add our Princess Premier that includes a shore excursion credit. Don't cancel what shore excursions you have. You can add to them, or once you get on board, that shore excursion credit will revert into onboard credit for you. So that's kind of why the onboard credits applies to excursions if you book them on board, but a lot of these you would want to book ahead of time. So just remember, onboard credit is the credit you get once you set foot on board the ship.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, did that explain? Like, I hope I
No,
explained that well.
I was going to say this. I was saying yes because I said the same thing. We have the crew. I'm en route right now to go over to France. I'm escorting a MOA group, and people were asking about pre-booking excursions and because they have an onboard credit. And I said, the onboard credit is for anything you book on board. So,
Mhm.
your bottles of wine or masterpiece collection excursions or spa treatments or, anything you spend on board, but onboard credits are for onboard booking. So there you go. It would
Correct.
appear that that is the end of the questions that we have. So just remind everybody one last time, we actually need to download the video from Zoom. And then we're going to probably, I know everybody logged in, so the webinar actually started before 2 o'clock. So we're going to trim it real quick, and then we need to upload it to YouTube, which depending on how many millions of people are uploading to YouTube at that moment can take up to 45 minutes to upload an hour long video. So, but as soon as we get that done, we're going to send everybody an email and so you'll get that this evening. We'll include some of the more information, the links so you can get an idea on shore excursions. We'll include that kind of itinerary map for the Circle Pacific cruise and everything else. And then, if you're like me, this webinar is going to end in 10, 15 minutes later. You're going to start thinking of questions you wish you would have asked. You have a telephone number, an email address. It's at mail@moavac.com. Just drop us an email. We're more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. On behalf of myself, MOA, and everybody who joined today, I want to thank Angela for taking time out of her busy schedule, not only right during this webinar, but the pre-webinar we did this morning. So, Angela, I want to thank you and turn it over to you for the final word.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to partner with John and MOA Vacations because I feel like Princess is like the best cruising option out there. And I know all of my competitors will say the same thing. But I just feel so like kindred spirits that you want to explore on your vacation, we want to help you explore. We, honor the military with our generous onboard credits. And honestly, there's no better partner for us than MOA Vacations because they they give you the kind of service and attention to detail that you guys all deserve. So I'm just honored that I could be on here with you guys today.
Oh, what a nice thing to say. All righty.
Thank
Well,
you.
everyone, have a wonderful weekend and be on the lookout for the email that will get out to you. I would probably guess it always ends up being later than I think, but by 10 or 11 tonight for sure we'll have the email out. So knock on wood. Everyone I say that we'll have some technical issue that come out as soon as possible. How about that? As soon as possible, get it out to you. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye, everybody.